How you doing, y'all? Welcome to Confidence. You know, my editor called me today and she was like, Chris, two things. She's like, I appreciate the feel good stuff, but we need more drama. That's what she told me. We need more drama. I didn't even know how to receive that at the moment, right? It took me a second to like reflect on that. I'm like, what does that mean? And so I sat with it because initially I was defensive. I was like, what am I, not good enough because I'm happy? This is bullshit. So I was like, all right, let's give them what they want. The second thing is, she was like, wear a hat. I guess I care about external validation because I got a fucking hat on right now. So, all I'm gonna say is I love you, but also fuck you. Honestly. But yeah, honestly, you know what I told her? I immediately responded and I was like, you know what? I got a fucking lot of drama going on in my life. So today I'm going to share it. I'm in a fucking mood today. I'm in a mood today to just fucking yap and, just tell you how it is, tell you what I'm feeling. And yeah, we're going to go through it. I think I got one situation that I have. So beyond that, it's just going to be me and you today, me and you. So pay attention. Okay. And here's the thing. None of this is planned. It's all from the heart. Right? It's like a good, I met this girl at the coffee shop and she was in a wedding and she was like, I'm so nervous. Like I wrote this speech out for I think she was like the maid of honor or some shit. I was like, well, just go speak from the heart. What are you doing? Right? You guys don't understand. I guess this is really difficult. And honestly, I actually had a new client this week and it's funny. It was our first call and the beginning of the call, like I was asking her questions and I was getting like these like short, shy, like 1-2 word answers. I'm like, what's going on with what's going on? You know what I mean? I didn't say that to her. I was like in my head, I was like, this is interesting. Like it feels like very, very, very guarded. And I realized something about the world and I already knew this, but it just reinforced this, which is like, God damn, are we scared of getting things wrong? We're scared of not being right. We're scared of not, knowing the right things to say. And really what you're pretty much saying to people is that you are in such fear of their reaction that you are trying everything in your power to make it positive. And so just like even those two things in that moment, right? The speech, whatnot, and even the new client, what they don't even realize is that if they weren't thinking and they legitimately just spoke from that place of heart where they didn't plan, they didn't think, they just showed up, I guarantee you the energy would be so much better. I know that's scary because you're like, but I have to prepare for that, right? And most people, right? And I don't know if you've ever wanted to do content yourself or start a podcast. You know how many fucking people I work with that are like, oh man, I'm going to start a podcast next week. I'm like, all right, cool. Fucking do it. I just remember when I first started though, me and Jay, I remember we had our microphones. We got these shitty ass little microphones on top of my coffee table. And Jay was the one who actually got me into podcasting. And he was like, bro, like, let's just take the mics out and let's just fucking talk. Like, let's just do it. Like put it on. I remember getting on there at first and I'm like, God damn, we were fucking nervous. We were like shy. We were like, saying things. You could just tell it wasn't us. It's uncomfortable at first, right? You put the camera on, you put the microphone on. It's not easy. Then you kind of get a little deeper into it. And then you have these expectations, right? There was a long time where me and Jay would, try to talk about things before the podcast that we were going to talk about. And I'm not saying it's wrong to like plan certain things. Preparation is not necessarily a bad thing. But when we're talking about something like this, me and you right now having a conversation, well, you're listening, I'm fucking talking. The best shit is really just when you let it go. When you let it be what it's supposed to be, whatever it is. And we started to realize that as we got deeper into podcasting. So for anybody that wants to do podcasting or even content, don't think. Seriously. You think it's bad to not prepare for things? I'm telling you, it's the opposite. It's the best. Learn to be who you are in the moment. Who you are in the present moment is the best version of you. It really is. Because it's so real. It's so natural. But here's the thing too. It's like, you can't try. I know it sounds strange, right? But you can't try. Trying is almost like inferring that who you are in this moment is not enough. Weirdly. So when you say, oh, I'm going to try to do this, it's already a state of like lack and heaviness. And it's scary. Don't get me wrong, right? There's times right now, right, where I'm like turning the mic on and I'm like, you know, there's some weeks I get on this podcast. I'm like, oh, I'm in my head. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? Oh my God, I'm going to fucking sit here and think. And, you know, I'll tell you right now with those podcasts, most of the time, they're not the best. And best, oh my God, see, they're not the best. What is best? This is what I was trying to tell you guys at the beginning of this podcast. What is the best? What would be the best maid of honor speech that she could have? Really, the one that she writes out? Maybe, right? Maybe you're sitting there, you could articulate your thoughts. Wow. I mean, writing is really great, right? When you edit something and you do it over. But when we're talking about a speech, when we're talking about conversation, when we're talking about you wanting to show up as your most authentic version, bring that real fucking energy, to me, there's nothing better than showing up and speaking from the fucking heart. Because that's what I'm trying to say. She doesn't even realize, but her best speech would be when she crumples that paper up and she just talks about her fucking best friend. She just says exactly how she feels about her best friend, how she really feels in her depth. And I guarantee you that speech would be fire. I guarantee you. And the same thing with my client, right? By the end of the call, we're about like a half hour in. And you could tell like it was like an iceberg, bro. You know what I mean? She just started to melt and she started to crack. And next thing you know, she's talking. And it's like, she's like, Chris, I'm gonna be honest. Like, yeah, at the beginning of this, I was very nervous. I was like, you know, it's okay. It makes sense, right? It's okay, right? And I think that's what's really cool about, I would say my energy in general is that I've realized that the more comfort and love that I cultivate in myself, like that truly unconditional love for myself, people could feel it. They feel safe. They feel safe to be themselves. They don't feel judged. But the truth is that not the rest of the world is like that. And that's what happens for a lot of people, right? A lot of us. I mean, that's why I think a lot of us are wounded and the reasons that we don't feel peace on a day-to-day basis, because not many of us really feel safe to be who we are. We don't feel safe because there's been a lot of experiences in our life where when we were who we were or who we are, people took it for granted. People shut us up. People told you that you sucked. People told you that you were fucking ugly. They overlooked you. All right, so if we're going to start with the fucking drama, let's start with this. You know, this week, you know, I met this girl at a coffee shop and, you know, I don't know, we got to talking. She asked what I did. I was like, oh, I'm a dating coach, blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh, let me get your Instagram, whatever. Gets my Instagram. We, you know, talk for a good like 10, 15 minutes. I thought she was really cute, whatever. But nothing too deep. I don't know this person yet. So as I'm walking out, I was like, hey, we'll plan something. I was like, actually, I'll plan something. She was telling me actually, like, cause the reason we started talking, her friend was there. She was like, yeah, she needs help. She needs help. You know how fucking girls are. And I was like, oh, like, you know, why have you been struggling, right? What's going on? She's just like, I don't know. Like, it's just hard for me to find somebody that not only is funny, but is also deep. And then she was saying like, yeah, like most guys that she meets, they're either just really serious and like they have those good values, but then they're just boring. Or you get the guys that are like really charismatic and whatnot, but they don't have the other shit. I think I probably fall in that category. Honestly, I like to believe I'm both of those. Hey, fuck it. Okay, my beliefs don't matter on this. But then I asked her about her core values of like what she's looking for. And a lot of them, she was like consistency and effort. Communication, blah, blah, blah. And you could really tell a lot about somebody based on their non-negotiables. When I start asking people what they value, it already gives me an indication on what their fear is, what their trauma is. Because all of her values, and if you have ever written down your non-negotiables or whatever, I want you to go take a look at them and tell me what you see, not individually, but as a group. Because what her values were centered around was effort. She just wants a guy that's going to show up and give effort. Now, it's interesting because the first comment she made to me was that she wasn't finding depth. but all of her core values were actually more centered around effort from people. So that was why when I was walking out, I was like, hey, I was like, you know what? I was like, we'll plan something. I said, oh, you know what? Excuse me. I was like, I'll plan something. I hit her up and I was like, yo, why don't we go grab lunch and coffee on Sunday? Doesn't answer me for a full day. I'm like, oh, all right. Maybe the energy's not there. Responds back to me and she's like, are you trying to be my mentor or like what's going on? She's questioning my intention behind the hangout. So what can you already tell? Like there's already this energy of like skittishness, if that's a word. So yeah, I tell her my intention. I was like, you know, to be honest, I thought you were cute and I thought you were mildly funny and I just wanted to get to know you deeper. That was it. I wasn't like, you know, nothing to it. And then she was like, you know so much about me, not fair. That's what she responded with. And I was like, okay. Still hasn't said yes, obviously. She did tell me that obviously she was dating a couple people at, you know, when I first met her. So I guess she was probably in her head about, I don't know, the fact that she just opened up to me and told me that she's like dating like 4 people. And then I was like, oh, we should go chill. So, you know, and that's what I'm trying to say is like people get nervous about this type of shit because I would assume that there's probably some judgment, right, on her end thinking that, oh shit, like this guy knows that I'm already talking to people. Like, what the fuck is this about? Yeah, I'm gonna make a long story short, but the day comes, she doesn't say anything to me. I was like, well, you can get to know me if you want. Essentially, I was like, and if you connect with somebody else deeper, I said, that's okay. I was like, it's about alignment. You know, we don't know each other at all. Doesn't respond back to me for over like 24 hours. Says, unfortunately, I can't. This is at 1 a.m. Unfortunately, I can't. And she was like, perhaps you could run into me and my friend again at the coffee shop. I said, all right, perfect. Let's see. She said, I'll be there on Tuesday. What happens? I show up on Tuesday. She's not there. All right, cool. And yeah, I don't know. That triggered me, to be honest. It made me feel, and it didn't say, I felt unimportant. I felt unappreciated. And yeah, I guess to my point is like, you could be very genuine and honest with somebody. I'm a very straightforward person. You know, I lead with my heart. I lead with my honesty. And, you know, in this world, sometimes, you know, that doesn't get you what you want. That's just the truth. And that's a really tough pill to swallow. But I want to make a case for honesty, and I want to make a case for like being genuine and showing up. Because here's the deal. Whether or not she vibed with me or whatever, the truth is the truth. You know, if somebody cares about you or they see something in you, like, you know, there's some sort of vibe, you're going to know. You're going to know. You're going to feel it. And what I think a lot of people do is we try to skirt around the truth and play the game, right? It's like, yeah, it's hard for you to be honest because you don't want to feel how I felt. I get it. You know what I mean? In that moment, how did I feel? I got home after that and I was like, I literally asked myself, you guys know me. I asked myself, I was like, how do you feel right now? I was like, bro, that shit hurt. It's small, right? It's not a big deal. I don't even know this person. I had a 15-minute conversation. But, you know, you just always want things to go your way. You always think that if you are authentic and if you are honest, that you're always going to get the results that you want. And that is not true. That is not. And whenever I tell you guys to really be yourself and to show up and speak from the heart and do those things, it doesn't mean that you always get the outcome that you want. That's not what it is. What I am telling you is that you will always attract the things that are truly meant for you. You will always see the truth of the other side as well, too. And here's the thing, whether I wanted to see it or not, that's what I'm trying to say, is that if that was meant to be in some sense, it would. And acceptance over the truth of reality, I tell you guys about reality all the time, it's the best place to live. Is it always the easiest place to live? No, it's not, right? Because then you experience shit like this where like you shoot your shot, you put yourself out there, you're honest, you're real. I say exactly how I feel. Walking up to her in the coffee shop was uncomfortable. She was with her best friend. I walked up to two girls and I was having a conversation with both. I was trying to fucking, I was flipping pancakes out there. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, these girls are both like really cute. But yeah, you know, I sat with it. And here's the other best part too, right? A lot of people, when they experience this, they take it as betrayal. They get angry. And what I tell you guys is what's under anger, it's just hurt. What I realize about the world that I live in at this current juncture of my life is that nobody makes me feel anything. She isn't wrong for not showing up. She doesn't owe me shit. She's not wrong for not being there. She's not wrong for any of those things. How I feel is how I feel. Those two things are separate. So what I had to do is I had to sit with myself and I had to ask myself, what do I feel? And I was like, yeah, that shit sucks. I feel unappreciated. I feel unimportant. And I got down through, I was like, why do I feel like that? Right? And this is me deducing my underneath beliefs. And I hope you guys are seeing this for yourself because it's important for you to understand your own emotions. The more that you can do that, the more you're going to get to your beliefs and the better you could treat yourself. So I was like, why do I feel unimportant? Why do I feel unappreciated? It's tied to a belief. And I think that this situation triggered me and made me recognize that I still have underneath beliefs that sometimes I don't feel good enough. Sometimes I put my value in what other people feel about me. I think we all do, you know? And I was telling you guys last week about building security and how you're not always going to be perfect. This isn't me saying that I'm insecure because I'm not. I'm not insecure. Because security is understanding and knowing that that reaction and that feeling is not her fault. It's not that she's a bitch. It's that when someone doesn't show up for you, yeah, you're going to feel some shit. And it's going to point to things about yourself that I think are really important. And it was really important for me to recognize that too. There's still stuff in there where sometimes I doubt myself. Sometimes I'm scared of being insignificant. I told you guys, what's my biggest fear? My biggest fear in life is that I'm going to be insignificant. And I'm going to come out with a Substack, and it might already be out at this time that this is posted, but it's all about this feeling of fearing being insignificant. And for me, what I got down to the root of, I was like, what does that mean? And I realized for me that I just want to be important. And I think a lot of and again, this is all based on reflection that I had. And again, I was in a meditation. I was asking myself why. I was getting to Chris, like the root of myself. And I was like, why do I fear that? What about that do I fear? And then I was like, I fear being unimportant. And I need to show people that I am important. And I realized that like, this is a reaction to like, as a kid, like, you know, I was kind of neglected. I was like baggage. That's how I felt. And because I felt that way, I think I created this reaction that I don't want to feel like that ever again. I don't want to feel not important anymore. So there's things that happen in my life, and there's multiple ways, right? Like sometimes I post a video and I'm like sitting there, I'm looking at the likes, look at the notifications. How is it doing? What are my comments? Oh man, this other person got a lot of views. Why do you think that is triggering me? Because I fear being unimportant. So yeah, all I'm going to say is that fucking sucked. But here's the other cool thing is that I feel like little things that like would happen to me like that in the past, like would derail the shit out of me. Same thing with like Instagram and stuff. Like, you know, if I had a video that didn't do well or whatever it is, I would really feel it really heavy. I mean, this past week, I don't think I had like a shit ton of views over the last like 7 or 8 videos. And I could feel the energy. Subconsciously, you could feel that energy. It's just like the girl that's afraid of being chosen. I had a client today. Her deepest fear is not being chosen, you know? And what happens for a lot of people is that when somebody doesn't show up for you, like let's say in a dating situation, or they turn around and they just ghost, or somebody turns around and breaks up with you, that's triggering as fuck. But what you need to recognize is it's not just about them being an asshole or being narcissistic or whatever it is. A lot of it is internal feelings about yourself that you are not good enough. It's internal feelings about yourself that you need them in order to feel chosen. Think about that. If you have fear of not being chosen, you're constantly at the whim of everybody that you date. And really, when you break that down even further, right, the fear of not being chosen, really, you're afraid to be alone. And a lot of people, that's what happens, right? When you were neglected as a kid, a lot of people, when they fear that when they fear that abandonment, they don't want to feel that shit again. Because it's the same feeling that you had as a little kid when you're sitting in your room and you know that you want some form of attention, or you know that you have a feeling, right? You want to be seen, you want to be supported. You want someone to just fucking be there, and then they're not. So what beliefs do you feel like you generate about yourself? Number one, that it's your fault, that you're the problem, that you're not worthy, that people leave, that you'll never be chosen, for me, that I'm unimportant. And so what happens is later in life, it's the same shit on repeat. It just looks different. And honestly, the other fucking twist to all this, what's really difficult to say out loud, is that I had this experience, and today, I know you guys knew that I was like talking to, that girl, and we were being honest about not having commitment, and we were trying to work through things. This situation, but just also over the last like week and a half, I started to realize that I was also wearing a mask in that situation too. And, it really came to a head the other night. Me and her hung out, and we went for a walk, and we started to talk about her, right? And we started to get into her feelings. Of course, the coaching fucking hat just starts to come out. It's just who I am. I know this information really well. And it's not even just information. It's the key to life. It's the key to life. It's understanding how you truly feel. And I'm not going to tell like her whole entire story, but we went on this walk and we were talking about how, she sometimes like fears my reaction. We started to get into a deeper conversation. We started to realize that, so the girl that I was talking to, she was really badly abandoned, honestly. I don't want to get into the specifics of her trauma, but let's just put it pretty simply that, she really did not have people there. Like deeper than me by far. So she also cultivated this fear of abandonment, and ultimately she feels not good enough. And we started to recognize that, and I had her like talk to her child self, and I was like, oh, like, what would you tell your child self if you could reflect back on what she was experiencing? Because again, what happens as a kid? You take it in, you can't discern that it's not your fault, so you personalize it, right? You make it that, oh shit, this is on me, right? I'm not worthy, right? I'm not worth loving. Literally, that's what it feels like. So when you have that experience, how do you think that you show up in relationships? And this is so many fucking people. You hide your truth. This is exactly what we said at the beginning of this podcast. So many people are afraid to be themselves and speak from their heart because they had to shut that off. They didn't want to speak from the heart, or they couldn't speak from the heart. And on top of that, they felt that their feelings were wrong. They thought that their feelings were the problem. They thought that they were the problem. So that's what we got to, and I was like, we were talking through this, and me and her were having this really vulnerable, honest conversation. She's like, Chris, I'm so scared to even have this conversation with you because another big fear of her is that people in her life won't choose her because of how she feels probably inside that she's broken. And that she feels that if other people hear her story, that they won't love her anymore. That's deep-rooted shit. That's deep-rooted not feeling good enough. And so what do you think happens as a result? Think about me and her relationship. I tell her I feel something's off. We stop talking. She comes back around, right? She hits me back up. And I know she cares about me, and there's no bad blood, right? Because here's the thing. Me and her are both imperfect. Everybody's imperfect. You listening to this is imperfect, right? That's just what it is. But the truth is me and her trauma got the best of it, got the best of us. And you know how we talked about everybody's a mirror, in a sense? That's what it is me and her matched up perfectly. Because her truth is that she struggles to speak up on her truth. She struggles to know how she feels. She struggles to honor herself. That's true. And trust me, I could feel it. And so it's crazy, right? Think about this. You have a girl where her deepest fear is that she's not good enough and that she's probably broken. And what is my deepest fear? That I'm unimportant or that I'm insignificant. So what happens? You have this girl that comes into my life that I feel when we first connect, I'm like, I like this girl, but there's an align, there's a piece of alignment here that's not there for me. I felt it in my body. So I ended it. But she came back around, and what she did was she told me how amazing I was. She supported me. She told me that even if we didn't have commitment, she still wants to hold it down for me. What do you think that created in me? That without me even realizing it happened so fast. I'm right back in it. And that's not to say it's her fault. It's not her fault. Both of us have ownership over this connection. But look at this, match made in heaven. Person that's afraid of being unimportant and person that fears not being enough. So my energy, what's my energy? You guys know. I want everybody to feel good. I want everybody to be the best version of themselves, to be the most confident version of themselves, to be the most honest version of themselves. So her receiving me was her idea of feeling important or her idea of feeling good enough. If she can receive me and she can get me to stay, she would finally be enough. And for me, underneath, having that support, having that person to be in your corner, to make me feel important, match made in heaven. That's why I was like, me and her were having this conversation, hella open, and I'm like, this is why we're together. Honestly, it's what it is. But, the truth is that if it's hard to accept that that's also a mask, You can't lead by fear. You got to lead with love, and you got to lead with self-love. You got to know your truth. And so that's the thing, is that we're both inadvertently wearing a mask. I asked her this question. I said, in what places in this relationship have you not been honest, or have you felt pressure to not be yourself? And I said, what's a truth that you are holding on to that you haven't told me because you're scared of my reaction? That's a hard question to ask a girl that is afraid of my reaction, fearing not good enough, and fears that she's not, broken. But she owned up to one thing. And I remember coming on this podcast telling you guys about the values, about how, I feel like you guys know my fucking values at this point, right? It's like self-development, energy, right? Positive, honest, whatever, you guys get it. And when I told her that I felt bothered by her, not necessarily valuing the gym as deep as I do, she said that in that moment, she said that she kind of hid the fact that, hey, my truth is I'm going as much as I want to go. That was her truth. Her truth was like, I don't value that as much as you do. But what happened? She didn't want to say it. And why didn't she want to say it? And how many relationships are built on this shit? It's built on not like, again, like she's purposely being dishonest. It's that she's just so scared of not being enough that she couldn't be real about feeling like she was not going to be enough to me. But what's crazy is the truth is underneath is like, and I told her, I was like, I see it. You can't lie. You know what I mean? It's like, I know you. I feel you. I'm with you all the like a good amount. And it wasn't to say that she's not doing enough in that realm. My point is that she's showing up as exactly how she said. Her truth is her truth, which is the truth of how she is, which is she doesn't value it as much as I do. That's truth. And I was like, I'm happy that you said it. Because I know. But, I'm also not being honest either. And my truth is that I'm not going to pinpoint. There's not like specific qualities. And this is what I literally just told her, was just like, I care about you so much as like a friend and as somebody that I genuinely like. I was like, you have set the bar for the type of person that I want from a perspective of being genuine and from a perspective of friendship. We accept each other and we love each other. We really do. Like the truest version of love. It's like love in the sense that you can see each other for who each other truly is and accept the truth. And that's what I said to her, is like, I respect and love that. But my truth is that, there's a reason I feel uncertain. I'm not giving you commitment. I know this is not what you want. And honestly, I know it's not what I want either. And as much as I try to sit here and allow it to be in this gray area, same thing with her, allowing it to be in this gray area, we're not being honest. And it's not for a lack of trying or just because we're not good enough. It's because we're imperfect human beings that have fears, that care about each other. There's mixed emotions. Like seeing her on FaceTime while we're talking about this, like I care about that person so much. You know how hard it is for me to say that? And vice versa, right? When she knows that she cares about me so much and I'm telling her that I can't commit to her and she cares about me so much, what's her first inclination? All right, well, fuck it, accept it. If it's meant to be, we're gonna figure it out. We're not wrong for the ways that we're showing up. It's not a judgment. But whether we like it or not, the truth is the truth. And, my truth is like, I don't know, even though we don't have commitment, and I know that it's open for us to like talk to other people if we wanted to, that doesn't feel good. I care about that person a lot. And just like energetically, when you're in a connection that is like, you guys are like masking this, you know, your truth. Like it's hard to own. It is. Cause it's fucking scary. It's scary to be like, all right, yeah, now the person that helped me with dinner, that took care of me, that created this feeling of me feeling important, right? She supported the fuck out of me. She genuinely loves the fuck out of me. Genuinely. She's attractive. She's dope. We have such a great friendship. But it's not about the external. It's about how I feel inside. And there's just times in which we are together and I could feel it. I could feel her energy of wanting more, and I could feel my energy of knowing that something's not there. Fucking A, I told you guys I was going to have a little drama today. You know, it's really weird because like the last podcast I came on here, I was talking about how like amazing I felt. And I'm going to be real with you. Like even through all this energy, right? These triggering moments, like me feeling like not enough, me feeling like afraid to share my truth with this girl, me being honest to my feelings with this person, you know, I do still feel grounded. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say is like, I don't know, like weirdly, I feel relieved with all of these things. And what do they say in the movies? The truth will set you free. It's motherfucking true. It's true. Right? It's like, I didn't waste my time. This other girl, right? I didn't waste my time. I didn't play the game. I didn't try to like skirt around it. I said how I felt. I was honest. I was real. If I'm not seeing good energy back and I've been real, I've been honest, I've been vulnerable, I got my answer. Great. It's painful for a second, but you move on. Boom. Not for me. Redirection. As with this girl where we've been in this limbo, you know, it was hard having that conversation. It really was. I had to hang up at one point, and I legitimately did like a nice little half-hour meditation to myself. And I was asking myself, yeah, it's like, how do you feel? Like, what is your truth behind this, Chris? Because sometimes it's hard, right? In the moment when you're talking to that person, how easy is it to just skirt back? Like, you know how easy it was for me to be like, oh, fuck, like, yeah, like, I don't know, maybe like we shouldn't talk about this. Or, you know what, let's just kick the can down the road even further. Because that's what we've been doing, if you want to be real. And here's the thing though, not in a negative way. We've been at peace. We've had a good friendship. We've had a good vibe. That's what's funny is that underneath all of this, a week ago, you know, there's no bad vibes. We're hanging out, we're vibing, it's chill. It's not like it was hurting my life. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that. But there's a lingering tension. I tell you guys all the time, it's like working at a job that you know that you don't want to be at, but like sometimes you have good days, you got bad days, right? You're enjoying it, you're doing your thing. It's not that bad. But eventually, that truth is going to come out. And what I'm realizing about my life is that the quicker that I can get to that truth and honor it and own it, the more confident and happier I feel. I did this, like I sat there with my feelings. I told her my truth and I stayed with it. You know what I mean? I called her back and I was like, okay, like I'm firm in this, you know, because I sat with my feelings. My feelings are telling me, yes, Chris, like I know it's really hard, but that's your truth. Your truth is that there's something here that I can't pin. And that's what I told her too. I was like, I can't pinpoint exactly why. I can't. I have nothing else to tell you other than something doesn't feel 100% aligned and I have to trust it. And that's another scary thing too, is that when you don't have the answers, it's really difficult to trust your intuition because we so desperately want to have the words. We so desperately want to have the fucking reasons. But what I'm trying to tell you is that the only reason you need to have is what your body is fucking telling you. So I share this vulnerable truth. You know, she accepts it. She's really sad. She's hurt. She's crying, right? But she sets me free because that's what I'm trying to say. This fucking relationship is so fucking awesome. And like I said, it set the bar for the type of connection that I want to have, genuinely. Because even in that moment, even though it was hard as fuck for her to say it, she's like, Chris, like, it's really hard. I don't want you to go. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to leave you. I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that. And I support you totally. And she's like, there is nothing that... She's like, I have no hatred in my heart for you. She's like, there's just nothing I can be upset about. She's like, but I just know that if you don't feel that if I care about you and I love you, that I need to set you free. And yeah, that was that. But what's interesting is I got off that phone and you know what emotion that I felt? I felt fucking relieved. Like there was this underlying tension that has been building inside of me. And that's what happens. And honestly, if I'm being real, like I got stuck in my pattern again. I did. Right? Like I know my truth. I know something's not right for me. I break up. They come back. They hit me up. Right? They agree to a relationship that's more watered down than the initial. And then I accept it because it feels good, right? In the moment it does. Right? The sex, the support, the texting. It's easy to just get right back into the bullshit. And it's not even bullshit because it feels so good, right? I'm fucking doing good at work. I'm vibing. Like we're doing good. Like there's no bad vibes. I have no commitment, so I have no strings attached. I'm like, what's the downside? There's no downside. What I realize is the downside is that when you're not living in 100% alignment with that underneath truth that, I don't know, number one, it's going to come out at some point. And yeah, just number two, I think it feels so much better. I feel such a different energy when I live that way. It's crazy. It's crazy. I guess that's what I was saying. I got off the phone and what happened? Bro, I made an Instagram video and I posted it tonight. And I know that sounds dumb for you guys. Like, oh, why does that matter? It matters because it feels that the more that I choose my truth, the more that I trust my feelings, the more confident I am, the happier that I am, the more alive that I fucking feel. It felt effortless. That video just came to me. The reason that I was inspired and I feel creative, the only time that you will feel inspired, creative, motivated is when you are living in alignment with your fucking truth. And so many people are sitting here in relationships and at jobs and at things, and then they wonder why they have no inspiration and creativity to do the things that they want to fucking do. I can guarantee you that most of y'all, most of us, we're a team, we're holding on to shit that is taking us out of alignment. I think it's that simple. You know, and it sucks because a lot of the times we have a lot of self-judgment to it, right? It's like, I remember I got on the phone with one of my clients. One of my clients was like, oh man, you're with that girl again? Why are you doing that? Like, if you knew that you didn't like her in the first place, why are you going back? And then I'm like sitting there like, I don't know. I just feel like maybe if I give it some more time, like I could, we'll see, right? Like, we'll see where things go. I was like, I don't have commitment. It's not a big deal, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. You feel this, and she wasn't judging me. She wasn't. She was just curious. But you could feel a lot of judgment from others when you make mistakes in relationships. And it's not even really a mistake. It's not a mistake. I didn't make a mistake. Let's get out of that. And for you too as well. I just want to remind you something. It's not a mistake to go back to somebody. It's not a mistake to follow your heart and, try again with somebody that it didn't work out with, or that, I don't know, you could just feel this like underlying tension. It's not easy because what you're doing is you're battling your fears, right? Honestly, you know what really ticks me the fuck off? You know what ticks me the fuck off? I had these two people I met at, I was at Global Ambassador, and I was sitting there, I was working on something, and I had these two girls sit next to me, and they were like, oh, hey, what's up? I was like, oh, what's good? They were like, oh, what do you do? I saw you editing. I was like, oh, I do a podcast. I'm like a dating coach, whatever. She's like, oh, cool. She's like, hey, how, that's what I'm saying. I mentioned the dating coach thing. Everybody's just into their shit. All of a sudden, they're trying to fucking vent. And then they were telling me that they were going to start a podcast and that she was just like, oh, I need you. And then her friend was like, yeah, she was with this really toxic guy that she just like couldn't say no to. And I told her that she was only with him for the comfort. And you could just tell that this girl that was like sitting there just felt so fucking guilty. She felt so guilty about going back to this guy numerous times. She was like, yeah, he's really controlling me. It was really hard. And then the other girl like chimes in like, yeah, like she just could not. She just kept going back for it's like I just felt all of this guilting and all of this blame. And what's funny is what she didn't even realize that was happening in the moment. This is what's crazy. Was her friend is getting mad at her for going back to this guy that she feels that she shouldn't. And this girl is feeling guilty because she probably didn't understand why she was going back. And it's so much deeper than going back for the fucking comfort. Oh my fucking God. And that's, like I said, most of the world we're surface level. So that's the advice that her friend is giving her. But that's what I'm trying to say is what she doesn't realize is that she was going back probably because she has underlying beliefs about herself that she's not good enough or that she's feared being chosen, all this other shit. And she's being controlled. And what's funny as fuck is that her friend inadvertently, through her judgment, is also controlling her. And she doesn't even realize it, and they're sitting right next to each other. I'm like, it's funny. Yeah, she got mad at you about dating a guy that was controlling you, but you don't also realize, but you're also people-pleasing your friend by trying to appease her opinion. My whole point to say is this. We all have patterns. We all have negative beliefs in relationships. We all have deep fears in relationships and in life. So when these things happen, right, where like it could feel like I'm going back and forth, or, for you, right, you're in a toxic situationship and it's hard for you to get out and you feel fucking guilty as shit. Let go of that. It's just like for me right now, it isn't easy for me to come on here and say all this shit. It's not. Because what is it, right? I fear your fucking reaction. I fear your judgment. Oh, but what if they look at me and they think I'm stupid? Oh, what if they look at me and they're like, oh, he's a dating coach? How embarrassing is that? Oh, wow. Like, look at him. Like, why would he even go back to that? He should be knowing everything. He's the guru. And it's just so that perspective is just so fucking surface level. All in all is this. It's not easy to own your truth. But my God, does it feel fucking good when you fucking really let it out. Truly. You got to get to it though. You got to access it. You got to be honest to it. Speak from the heart. Share whatever comes to your mind. Again, it's not easy for me to share this, but fuck it. What do I have to lose? This is about my energy. So, all right. I'm going to do the situation. Let's take a look at it. What's the time? All right. All right. So this girl said, "Hi, Chris. Love the podcast. I listen to them while I'm working, stocking at a grocery store. Great." So she's like, "I was talking to this guy for about 3 months. Mind you, my boyfriend passed away from a skateboard accident back in April of last year." Gnarly. Okay. Sorry. I'm an asshole. And I've been struggling. All right, Chris, take it together. Get it together, bro. And I've been struggling with this guy in how to perceive him in the right way. Okay. Interesting sentence. We'll break down that sentence in a second. Long story short, me and this guy stopped talking after those months because I feel like I put too much on his plate. And his excuse for not talking anymore was that he was going through a lot and needed space. So let me pause right there. Think about this situation that she just said. And then think about the one that I just told you about me and this girl that I've been talking to. Understand that when you're having conversations with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your situationship, whatever it might be, that most of the time, most people are not telling you how they genuinely feel. And it's not because they are narcissistic and they are assholes. The reason that people aren't sharing how they feel is because they're scared of your reaction, and more than likely, they don't even know what they feel. I was with my best friend, one of my best friends, his name is Jeff, yesterday after football. I know I'm doing a caveat here, but it is what it is. And we hung out at my house. So I was telling him about this, and this is why I want to slow this down, because what I've realized is that when I tell you guys about feeling your feelings, most of y'all don't understand what I'm saying, because most of you guys are still thinking. It's not about thinking. You have to try to eliminate what you think that you know. And I know this is very hard to understand because your whole life is centered around thinking. I don't need to get into all this depth around this. I just want you to understand that this is why I literally do the coaching, is because you literally need to be guided and taught how to feel your feelings. It's like riding a bike. You know how uncomfortable it is for most of my clients, and for probably even for you listening? When was the last time that you did a meditation for 20 to 30 minutes? When was the last time you sat in silence for 10 to 20 minutes? Most people cannot. And most people won't. That's really what it is. Because most people feel that if I did that, whoa, that's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable because there's shit that's there, that's real, that you're not allowing yourself to access. Long story short, my friend is over. His name is Jeff. Good friend, good dude. He gets into a fight with his girl. And his girl right now is in a state where she is struggling. She's depressed. She's really to herself. They're struggling with intimacy, right? They're struggling with intimacy. And my friend, right, was getting frustrated with her about her not doing her part. He feels that she wasn't putting in enough effort towards her life, right? She's sitting there, she's kind of like sulking, she's kind of feeling down on herself. And on top of that, she's feeling down on herself because she's feeling like she's not where she wants to be. And then not only is she not where she wants to be, she's not taking any action. So my friend's getting frustrated, right? He's like, what do you think he's saying to her? Hey, you gotta fucking, do something. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? If if you're feeling down, like you gotta do something. And then he's telling her like, I can't deal with this energy. Your down energy is making me feel down, right? So he's kind of like frustrated. He's frustrated. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself initially, right? I'm like, oh damn, like maybe he doesn't feel alignment with this girl. Right? That's what I was getting. The vibe I was getting was like, oh shit, like, he's, cause he was in the mud, and now he's kind of getting himself out. He got a really good job. He's got a really good gig. He's kind of killing it right now. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh damn, man, my friend's probably just getting a little frustrated that, his girl is, just not pulling her weight or something. And yeah. So we're sitting there and we're talking, and I'm telling him about the feelings thing. And I'm asking him, I'm like, okay, like, did you tell her how you felt? And he was like, yeah, I told her. He's like, yeah, I told her that, like, yeah, that I, don't like this energy, right? Like it's bringing me down and that, she just needs to take some action. He's like, it was really hard for me to tell her that. I was like, all right. I was like, but you're in a reaction. I asked him, I was like, have you been overthinking this week? And he was like, yeah, I was. I was like, oh, when? He was like, actually, it was about the girl situation. That's when I was having a lot of like anxious thoughts, overthinking thoughts. I was like, okay, bring that to your awareness for a second. And I was like, I want you to pause right here, slow down a little bit. We were sitting on the couch. And I was like, I want you to tell me how you feel, right? Initially, he was like, oh, I just feel that she is just not doing enough. I don't know that her energy. I was like, no. Those are thoughts. Because I asked you how you felt and you just kept talking about her. How do you feel? He's like, oh. And see, what's funny is when you're trying to feel how you feel, most of the time your mind will chatter and it's going to chatter about the other person. Your focus is always on the environment, most people. So I slowed him down and I was like, how do you feel? And I said, only use I feel statements. He's like, this is really hard, dude. And he's like, fuck, man. Like, I don't know. He kept getting frustrated. He's like, I don't know. Slowed him down. He's like, I don't know, Chris, like, unwanted. I was like, unwanted. I was like, what? Whoa. I was like, what was that? He's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel unwanted. I was like, interesting. So I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I got the vibe that you and her were not connecting because she wasn't doing enough and she was bringing her energy down. But I was like, why do you feel unwanted? He's like, I don't know. She's just like really to herself. And yeah, it's just like, I just feel like, yeah, I don't know if she even like cares about me. I was like, what? And this is what I'm trying to tell you about. Nobody knows what they fucking feel. And even when I tell you guys on this podcast to ask you how you're feeling, you probably still don't know how you feel because this is what I'm talking about. So I was like, your truth is that she's not doing enough. I was like, bro, the way that you truly feel is that you actually feel unwanted. I was like, that is much different than her bringing your energy down. He's like, shit, I didn't realize that. He's like, I didn't realize that till now. Holy fuck. And I was like, think about this. I was like, from her perspective, you're turning around and telling her how much, or that she's bringing your energy down, that she just needs to take some action. She's already in her head about all of it, right? But really what's funny is that underneath, the only reason he's having that reaction is because he feels scared and anxious that she doesn't want him anymore. And I was like, imagine if you turned around and you said, hey, babe, actually, I'm feeling a little unwanted right now. I was like, you don't think that would be a way different conversation? And I was like, you don't think that do you think that she realizes that you feel unwanted? Or do you think that she feels criticized by you? Huge difference. And this is why I said most people have surface level connections. You're not getting to that depth. So I challenged him. I was like, bro, go home. I was like, go tell her your fucking truth. Your truth is that you're feeling unwanted. And I was like, that gives her, and I was like, watch, what if you guys reconnect, right? You tell her that, she recognizes that she also is missing that intimacy. She probably also feels unwanted. I was like, how do you think she really feels underneath? The reason she's not talking as much and she's being so shy is because she probably just doesn't know how to tell you that she also feels that way by you. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy how like the whole world is like this. Now, the reason that I brought all this up in the middle of all of this, if we go back to the situation, right? Long story short, this is what she said, right? Me and this guy stopped talking after those months because I feel like I put too much on his plate, and his excuse for not talking anymore was that he was going through a lot and needed space. What I'm trying to tell you guys is that even in that sentence alone, I can guarantee you that he's not being fully honest to how he feels. And also, too, this girl that's asking this question right now, when you judge yourself for being too much because you're saying, I'm putting too much on his plate, your love for somebody is not too much. You showing effort towards somebody is not too much. It's not. You feeling like you're too much is you being afraid that that other person doesn't like you. That's all that is. You see what I'm saying? When you fear that you're being too much, you're essentially fearing that you are not good enough. Because more than likely what you are doing as a result of not feeling good enough, energetically, you're showing all this fucking energy, even though you know deep down you do want something deeper. Or I'm sorry, you're saying that you're going to give him space, because that's what she said, right? Space is what I gave him, but I was left feeling worthless. Oh, here we go. I told you guys, fear of not being good enough. It was in the fucking question. I was left feeling worthless and that I was the problem. Oh my God. It writes itself at this point. It really does. It writes its motherfucking self. So, and I just want you to understand this. When you say, I felt left feeling worthless and I was the problem, you want to know something that's really true that you really need to understand? You feeling worthless and the problem, you're being triggered. And it's not him making you feel worthless and you're the problem. You feel worthless and you feel like the problem, probably since you were 5 years old. That's what's crazy. If you get into that feeling, right? Allow yourself to get into that feeling. What I would challenge you to do if you were my client, I would say, number one, sit down, be quiet, shut your eyes, and ask yourself why you feel that you are worthless, why you feel that you are the problem. Because here's what I'm trying to tell you about this situation. The truth of the matter is this. Your own feelings of lack, your own feelings of unworthiness causes you to overgive. People find that energy unattractive. They break up with you. It reinforces the belief that you are not good enough. If you believe that you are good enough, and this is why you need to get to the root of why you feel worthless, because imagine if you felt worthy. Imagine if you felt that you were not the problem. What would you do? You would show up with good energy. And if somebody told you that your energy was too much, you would say, okay, then I'm not for you. And you would leave. Same thing with the girl that I was talking to, right? Same exact vibe. She has underlying feelings of not being good enough, right? And feeling broken. So when I broke up with her, what did she do? She chased. She told me that she would give me space. She told me that she would not give me commitment. But the truth is that if she felt worthy as she was, she wouldn't go back to somebody that is telling her that her energy is not enough. And you know what I'm saying? I can tell you about his trauma all day long, but it doesn't matter because I'm not coaching him. Because it's about you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Every relationship situation that you get into has nothing to do with the other person. Weirdly enough. That's why I said the girl I took to the coffee shop, no ill will. It's not her fault. She didn't do something. I didn't feel unimportant because of her. That her doing that triggered the feeling of unimportance inside of me. Same thing for you. This guy asking for space triggered in you your own feelings of worthlessness, your own feelings of shame. Shame is what? I am the problem. What is guilt? I did something wrong. Shame is I am what is wrong. Shame is the deepest form of low self-worth. And that feeling of low self-worth and worthlessness is the reason I can guarantee you that you will choose partners that create that feeling inside of you. Why do you think the girl that I found me? Because I'm really good at sometimes making somebody feel, I didn't make her feel, no. I'm the perfect person for her because I'm elusive. Because I'm avoidant. So she needs to earn. That's what I said. Everybody's a mirror in that sense, right? I guarantee you this guy, yeah, he probably, I would say probably has some similar fears, right? Most of the avoidance, I know that's what it is. You're scared not to be the shit. You're scared not to be cool to other people. So when you find somebody that actually likes you for you, it's frightening. So with people like that, and honestly, for the girl that I was just talking to, she does need to let me go. She doesn't need to let me figure that out on my own. You know? I don't think it was really driven fully by fear. But, I mean, what does my track record show? My track record shows that I haven't met a person yet that I have felt is enough. So that's something that I got to sort out internally. And honestly, but it starts with me being honest to myself and honest to that work and honest to her. So explore those feelings of worthlessness, because I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with that guy. It really doesn't. That guy is just triggering those feelings inside of you. And if you could heal those feelings inside of you, that's when you're going to find the relationship that you're looking for. All of us. When we truly internally recognize the deepest fears that are keeping us away from love and we heal them, that's when we find what we're looking for. All right. If you ever want to work with me, you know where to find me. Hit the fucking link, apply. And yeah, check out my Substack. Got some writing on the way, all that kind of stuff. So I love you guys. And yeah, cheers to a little bit of drama. You're welcome, fucking editor. And yeah, some more clear-headed days moving forward. Honestly, like I said, I've been truly at peace. So that's all I could ask for at this point in my life. So, ay. Good night, y'all.